So these trends indicate identifying new needs, problems and demands which create entrepreneurial opportunities. Through trend analysis, the entrepreneur is able to identify the opportunity he has, the market gap he has. So he can identify the unmet needs of the customers. So nowadays it's very important that as more and more industrialization is happening on the earth, we should also take care of our environment. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nikhilavati S, Faculty of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. I welcome you all for the sessions on the subject Entrepreneurship Development, which is a prescribed syllabus for 4th Sem BCom of Mysore University. So here in the last sessions, we have discussed about the first chapter, that is all about entrepreneurship. So we have discussed what is the concept of entrepreneurship is all about, what are all the qualities of an entrepreneur, as well as what are all the characteristics of a good entrepreneurial culture, etc. So today let us start with second chapter, that is developing successful business ideas and recognizing opportunities. So in the overall entrepreneurial process, the first and foremost step is to recognize the business ideas as well as identify the opportunities. So why recognizing the business idea is important? To find out the unmet needs of the people is very important, because as an entrepreneur, whatever the products and service you are producing, ultimately you are going to sell it to the customers. So you need customers and you need that market gap to produce a product. So as well as the customer must in need of the product that you are producing. So then only you can become a successful entrepreneur. So in that case, developing not only business ideas but a successful business idea is very important. So to start a successful business idea, so what are the things you require? So what you should do to identify the opportunities? So one such analysis or a technique or a method that is used to identify the opportunities is the trend analysis. So what is trend analysis is all about? So trend analysis is a systematic process of analyzing, identifying and even analyzing the business environment at the very first stage, knowing the social, technological as well as the cultural changes that are happening. So trend analysis is a systematic examination of the trend, that means the patterns that are there in the market, the taste and preferences of the consumers, the changing taste and preferences where for some of the products the pattern are repeated. So there are some kinds of say for example products called as universal products. Say for example, irrespective of the culture or social changes, they are also called as cultural universal products. Say for example, TVs, mobile phones and OTT platforms as well as all these apps, educational platforms. These are important to the people irrespective of what social background they have, what kind of education level they have, or what kind of or religion or a community they are from. So for some of the products which are culturally universal, so they as a company they have to think of improvising the product. But for some of the products like food habits or the dressing style or the daily consumer durables, for these kinds of problems it's very important that you need to understand how the current trend is. So first, one of the important analysis is the trend analysis. So these trends indicate identifying new needs, problems and demands which create entrepreneurial opportunities. So to identify the opportunity, you need to do a trend analysis. So basically trend analysis is the process of observing past and present trends. So how was the consumer buying in the past few years and how is now. So where is the shift that is happening? So observing past as well as present trend that is there in the market. Say for example, nowadays people are more into mobile phone payments. So more and more, digitalization is happening. So you need to say, for example, for the introduction of mobile apps, there is a current trend. So then studying their pattern of growth or decline. So is it growing or is it going to decline after some time? So when it comes to digital payments, I think it won't be like growing and it won't be declining in the future, because India is aiming at digitization and even digitization of currency notes too. Then studying their pattern of growth or decline, then also predicting future changes. So not just identifying a particular opportunity or a market grab, but also for a particular type of product, you need to analyze what was the past trend and what is the present trend that is going on and what will be your future. So if you are going to start a business in this type of product, what will be your future? So where you will stand? So every business or every entrepreneur thinks of living for a longer period of time. So sustaining the business organization for the longer period of time, aiming for the long-term growth, you need to analyze even the future changes. So what if the economy, falls down, or what if the stock market falls down, or what if, say for example, now the impact of tariffs on the exports and imports activities or international business. So what if a war happens suddenly? So analyzing the economic condition is also important. That's how you also think of, say for example, earlier TVs had a great demand, but nowadays due to OTT platforms, the demand for TV has reduced. So, and also the number of viewers watching TV has reduced comparatively, like people and the changing generation are into like OTT platforms where they can get that advantage of watching whatever they can. Like say for example, nowadays the changing generations are shifting to watch or prefer OTT platforms compared to TV, because in OTT platforms they have the advantage of watching their the show which they like or a movie which they like, etc. But in TV it's not like that. So most of the programs will be on live. So you cannot change the channel every now and then, but where in OTT platforms you can choose what type of shows you want to watch. So that is the current trend. So then, and also you have to think of future changes. So maybe in next 5 or 10 years, there won't be anybody who can watch TV. Instead of that, they can just like OTT platforms and shows, etc. And people are more into that Instagram reels or WhatsApp than YouTube reels compared to a normal TV channel or a news channel. So it is also important to predict the future changes, to identify a business opportunity as well as to implement a business idea. Then also identifying business opportunities based on these changes is very important to become a successful entrepreneur. Moving forward, we have importance of trend analysis. Why trend analysis is important? The first and foremost importance is that it helps in opportunity identification. So through trend analysis, the entrepreneur is able to identify the opportunity he has, the market gap he has. So he can identify the unmet needs of the customers. So, and their changing preferences and their changing taste in terms of, say, for example, it might be in, the kind of devices they wish to buy, or say, for example, nowadays everybody likes that earpods or Bluetooth devices, or, there is a trend for those kinds of electronic goods, as well as those devices which can automate your physical work and various AI tools, apps, all that. So just like that, the entrepreneur can identify the unmet needs of the customers. So then he can develop a business idea of, producing that kind of product which the people are preferring. So basically, trend analysis helps the entrepreneurs to identify a new opportunity which is new or emerging or a trending opportunity. Next is it reduces business risk. We all know that almost all the businesses, whenever it comes to business, it is affected by its environment. So both environment consist of micro environment and macro environment. And when it comes to micro environment, it consists of some of the controllable factors like your marketing ability, financial ability, your employers, management, etc. At least you can have a control on them and you can always take a better decision. But in case of the macro factors, so for example, technological environment, changes in social environment, cultural environment, etc. So all this environment will have an impact on the performance of the business. So, and business will have certain uncertainties as well as the risks or unexpected risk may happen at any time. Anytime the trend may change or the people choice might change if you, especially if you fail to deliver a quality product. So in that case, doing a trend analysis and getting into a business or finding a product which can survive in the market for a longer period of time and which will be in need for the customers can help you reduce the business risk, because based on the identification of the opportunity, you can plan like how you can say for example provide the service or manufacture a product, as well as say for example nowadays the customers are becoming more and more aware of the need for using hygienic food products or chemical free products. So that's how organic products now have a high demand in the market. So just like even in case of cosmetics and all, so when it is organic, people are attracted more towards these products to buy because they are also becoming aware of these kinds of chemicals nowadays. As well as the companies can start to produce more and more eco-friendly products. That's how all the electronic vehicles are coming to the market. So that's how you can also reduce the business risk, as it helps to avoid some of the products which are outdated. Through that you can avoid unnecessary losses, etc. Next is helps in innovation. So it helps in innovation because once you see that what is the current trend that is there in the market, then it gives you an idea what kind of product the people are preferring. So as I said, is it organic products or chemical free or say eco-friendly products or digital apps or online apps or online delivery. Say for example, in some of the areas where, especially nowadays when it comes to urban areas, most of the women are working women. So as working women are preferring more time saving gadgets, as well as some of the recipes for their food also. So this is all creating a new trend as well as a demand in the market for such kind of goods. So this helps you in innovation, where you can bring advanced technology and a new kind of product to the market, new method of production, etc. The changing lifestyles is leading to new kind of problems, wherein you have the opportunity to bring in new solutions for all these problems. So it helps in innovation. Next we have it supports long-term planning. So trend analysis helps you not only identify the opportunity, but also it supports the long-term planning for, say for example, every business plans for a longer period of time in case of, say, while increasing its capacity to produce more and more number of products. So capacity expansion, product expansion or diversification, expansion of the market. So these are all the long-term goals of every businesses. So trend analysis helps the company also plan for longer period of time, where it can also keep a proper space in its factory, where in case if it wants to produce an extra quantity of the same product, how it can make adjustments, in its plant layout, etc. Nowadays the trend towards the renewable energy is also creating the demand for, or helping or encouraging the entrepreneurs to take up and invest into solar power, etc. And the introduction of electric vehicles is also an example for this renewable energy. Then provides competitive advantage. So obviously for a business which is analyzing the trend properly can always get that advantage of, it can gain a competitive edge over others of identifying what is the current trend, what the customers like. So as per their requirement, delivering the product and services will always attract the customers, and you can keep the customers for a longer period of time. So in that case, it also provides a competitive advantage. So an early analysis of the trend help you to study the future, as well as to plan for business risk, as well as even the long term goals like expansion, diversification, etc. In that case, you can always bring in innovative ideas and use some creative methods to sustain in the market for a longer period of time. And doing a trend analysis is always a competitive advantage. Now, let us study about the types of trends affecting entrepreneurial opportunities. So, what are all the types of trends in in the country or in the surrounding or in the macro environment which is affecting a business in identifying the opportunities? So how the companies will make choices of their ideas or a product. So it is affected by various factors. So one of such factor is economic trends. So when it comes to economic, it is always related to the economical activities. Say for example, economic activities. So whenever we say economic, that means economic activities. So those activities which involves money or money's worth, or those activities which are done to generate some kind of income can be called as economic activities. And when it comes to economic activities, it involves the the ability of the country or the ability of the individual to generate income, or when it comes to the economic growth of the nation, again the ability of the country to generate income. So it is directly relates to the goods and services produced in that particular country. And not only that, there are so many economic factors involved. The unemployment situation in the country also affects your business, because people or a customer must be able to earn first. Then say for example, in a place where there is a problem of employment, then the purchasing power of the people will reduce. So based on the income generation of the people, then based on that, your demand for your product as well as the price of the product you can decide. Because always whenever your product is produced, the ultimate buyer is the customers, and the customers should have money to buy your products. So that money will be dependent on so many other factors: his capacity to generate income, the level or the status in the society, or say for example his the unemployment condition in that area, or even the inflation rate, because inflation demands more amount of money. So if more amount of money is needed at the time of inflation, then it affects the purchasing power of the customers. So it includes overall economic factors in the country or a region, where it includes interest rates, inflation, and GDP, etc. So, and the kind of economic system you have in a country, all that is going to affect the business. So based on that, the consumer's purchasing power will change, and based on the consumer purchasing power, your the demand for the goods and services in the market depends. So in that case, analyzing the economic trends is very important, and economic factors will affect your trend analysis at a larger scale. Next we have a social and cultural trends. This also tells us how social factors and cultural factors can affect a business performance. So when it comes to social, the dressing habits, or a group of people where they share a common language, or from a particular community, or they'll have a particular type of dressing style, food habits, etc., and their attitudes. And when it comes to culture, the kind of dress, lifestyle, everything changes. So from country to country, there are different types of social systems and cultural systems. Or if we take India as an example, we have a diversified culture in our country. So it is very, though the India is the most populated country and it can attract the businesses around the world because of its population, where we are a good market for so many businesses. In that case also, the cultural factors are to be kept in mind by the businesses, because every product cannot be sold to all the citizens of the country. So their choice will be dependent based on their lifestyle, food habits, dressing style, etc. Their taste and preferences or interest for the product or a good depends on their social as well as cultural factors. So these factors will influence the people in the way they think, they live, or the kind of products that they choose, or behavior, etc. For example, the kinds of cool drinks where Gen Z are more attracted to, or the kinds of dresses they wear, like say for example they are accepted the Western culture, etc. So all these factors will impact the business. Next we have is technological trends, where for a business, technological environment or a technological trend analysis is very important, as it can affect a business at a very large scale. Because nowadays the production of the goods and services is mostly dependent on the technology that they are using, and more similar goods are available in the market, the variety of goods are available in the market. It is the technology that you use, the software that you use, or the quality of your product that differs your, and that makes you stand out of other similar products. So technology is very important, and that too to survive in a market for a longer period of time. At this competitive era, it is very important that you always choose an advanced technology and upgrade your business, or say for example update the technology you use, etc. See for example, a shop owner, maybe some 5 to 6 years back, you would be refusing or reluctant to use a digital payment method, because you would have been afraid that whether digital payment method is safe or secure or not. But now every small vendor, you can see a scanner code, and where they use the digital payments. So there is a digitalization of the payment system in India. So just like that, adopting the technology and adjusting the business as per the current trends is very important to survive in the market. And apart from that, it also helps the company to reduce the cost at a long term, as well as to improve its efficiency more and more. Next we have is political and legal trends. So political system in a country is very important, as the laws of the land or the taxation system, the policy, the rules and regulations for starting a business, or the way the government is encouraging a startup, the various schemes and facilities by the government. So and also the economic system in the country, all this will affect. And also the political system, a stable political party, as well as their decision in the country, budget allocation, all this is going to affect the performance of the business, because political and legal trends is also very important, where the company has to go through certain legal procedures, and to say for example now the increase in tariff rates may affect the exports or imports of the sellers in India, or for the businesses in India, etc. So there are a lot of other international geopolitical tensions which will affect a political system of a country. So it's very important to know the country's legal system, political system, as well as a stable political system and taxation rules and regulations, amount of tax or schemes or subsidies you have, because you can always make use of the kinds of schemes, policies from the government, and you can do your business in a better way. Next we have is environmental and ecological trends. So nowadays it's very important that as more and more industrialization is happening on the earth, we should also take care of our environment. As you know, some of the resources are very scarce resources we have, as well as some are renewable but some are non-renewable too. So we should save and preserve the non-renewable resources also, and also we should not affect or harm our environment and habitation. The businesses, as part of the economy or the environmental system, it has to contribute something good for the environment, and we should protect our environment from pollution like air pollution or sound pollution, as well as the ozone layer depletion, which may cause more harm to the people and also on the earth. So it's very important that you aware about the environmental as well as the ecological trends, and try to produce more and more eco-friendly products. And people are also now getting more aware about these kinds of products, and they are more attracted towards eco-friendly way of doing business. Say for example, using cloth bag instead of plastic bags, etc. So always this trend can be understood by studying about the environmental and ecological trends. And not only that, the whole world nowadays it's giving more importance towards a sustainable development. It's for our future generations. And see, development is very important for all the people and the countries, but the development should be in such a way that it should not compromise the needs of the future generation. We should use the resources, but we should also preserve them and make them sustain for a longer period of time. And at last we have process of trend analysis. So to understand the entire process of trend analysis, how the market is, how the environmental factors will affect, how economic factors will affect, how political factors will affect, and what is this overall process of trend analysis. So first identifying the various factors that affect a business, then identify the current trend, then studying about what was its past or what will be the future of the business if the business starts that particular product or service. So all these factors, along with how you can reduce the cost, how you can improve the efficiency, how you can contribute good to the society and the customers. So that's it regarding the trend analysis. Hope you all have understood. Thank you.